Hey, yo, Mothra, there's like this weird-looking kaiju down here. Yeah, Mothra!
Oh, Koji, I'm sure it's... Oh my god!
Well, hello, kiddies. This is your friendly neighborhood Watchman here with you again. This time to talk about Toho's Shin Godzilla sequel. Only 10 years in the making.
Mind blown.
Well, it's not on production yet, to be clear. But it's 10 years, too much time in between. They had a big hit with Shin Godzilla, then almost a decade later, an even bigger hit with Godzilla Minus One. And that's not even taking into account their third shared universe with Legendary Entertainment and their shared Monsterverse series of films, which started in 2014 with Godzilla, and which now, 11 years later, is more recognized as a series of Godzilla and King Kong partnership, the dynamic Kaiju duo, as it were. So they got 3 different versions, if you will, of Godzilla. 2 in-house, 1 shared, as I said. Japan's famous Toho Studios. It's in a nice pickle, if you want to put it that way. So it's been 10 years since Shin Godzilla mutated our expectation. And now Toho might finally resurrect it, and if so, will it be as big a success as its predecessor? This is Gems of Sanity, where we praise what Hollywood ruins. And yes, sometimes we root for the monster. So without further ado, let's start this shit.
Without further ado, let's do this shit!
So from bounding into comics, with the byline from J.B. Augustine, with the headline, Report claims Toho is finally, yes, finally developing a sequel to Shin Godzilla after 10 years. Think about that. A baby born at the time Shin Godzilla came out will be now in 5th grade, 10 years old. Don't look at me like that. I didn't put you on the shelf for 10 years.
It's always gonna be about you, isn't it?
Toho wants to expand heavily and aggressively with Godzilla becoming more popular around the world. The first and most practical step at this time is to follow up with a sequel to Godzilla Minus One. However, the Japanese studio had another hit Godzilla film a decade ago that they seem to forget about amidst all the commotion. That's right after he turned right from his larval stage with that fisheye look there. Creepy. Godzilla lifts his tail in the air and shakes it like he just don't care. Let me stop.
You need to stop.
That's a shame, but Toho is reportedly looking to circle back and rectify a mistake they made with Shin Godzilla.
Oh, you think so?
Capitalizing with a sequel. Yes, it sounds like something is finally in the works. About time. After all these years. And this isn't some errant rumor from social media or an internet forum. A major business news outlet has shared this information. Bloomberg reports in a much larger article about Toho's expansion plans, building on Godzilla Minus One's performance. Toho is planning a sequel for as soon as next year, plus a potential sequel to the film Shin Godzilla and a still untitled Southeast Asia focused project. Potential is the operative word. Yeah, Toho says potential sequel, which is studio code for maybe, if our accountants say so.
He ain't lying.
Toho may be just considering this internally and throwing things out there to impress people who glanced at their portfolio. Minus One's sequel and the returning involvement of writer, director, effects supervisor Takashi Yamasaki are the only things officially on the book. They may also be reluctant to create conflict between competing projects. Talk about cannibalism. If Shin's second installment is live action. Oh man, I hope it's live action. The first one was good. I enjoyed the first one, but I like Godzilla Minus One a lot more. I like Shin Godzilla's effects. I didn't care too much for the googly-eyed evolutionary stage of Godzilla, of a young Godzilla. I think a lot of people feel that way. And the atomic breath was the most powerful I've ever seen Godzilla possess. And Minus One Godzilla had a powerful breath. Also, but I'm sure it was inspired by Shin Godzilla. He had that shockwave effect, just like when the atom bomb is dropped. Godzilla Minus One had the heart. You got to care a lot more for the main characters. The pilot, the woman, the orphan girl. They're coming together during hard times and becoming a family. So the level of the characters really sets it apart from Shin Godzilla, in my opinion, anyway. I'm sure there are people out there that prefer Shin Godzilla over Minus One. To each their own. We're not carbon copies of one another. Our tastes, anyway. And that's that. But I digress. Fortunately, they can go in any direction, such as an anime or even a video game. They sort of already went the former route with Godzilla Singular Point a few years ago, reworking Godzilla's evolution and throwing in some time placement while at it. Shin Godzilla as a metaphor in the aftermath of the 2011 Fukushima disaster, which included monsoons, massive flooding, and a nuclear meltdown. The Japanese governmental emergency response was lacking, to say the least, and only made things worse. The film depicted a similar scenario in a darkly comic fashion, where rooms full of officials kept having meetings. In one instance, a new prime minister is appointed, and he feels doomed because his noodles are too soggy. Way to keep your priorities in order, Mr. Prime Minister. Yeah, Shin Godzilla wasn't woke fluff. At times it was satire with teeth and atomic breath. That's why, with an iconic cinematic character, is why it worked. My wet noodles! I'm crying. Soggy noodles comes before the coat of Bushido. Hey! It did well commercially, although paling in comparison to Minus One, grossing 8.25 billion yen, or roughly 78 million in American moolah. Take my money, bitches! Take it all! Another 80 million was brought in overseas to make Shin Godzilla the highest grossing Godzilla movie in Japanese history at the time. Awards were collected at the Japanese version of the Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director. A sequel should have been a no-brainer.
Duh.
But writer-director Hideaki Anno preferred for it to stand on its own merits. A proposal was submitted to introduce a Shin Angiras.
Say what now?
Yeah, I know there's like a million different pronunciations out there. But this is mine. So just stop complaining.
Whatever.
A rewind that. A proposal was submitted to introduce Shin Angiras in a reversion to monster battles, and one would have further explored Godzilla's evolution. But they went nowhere, and, well, at least they didn't until now. Hopefully. My, what big hips you have. Man, Shin Godzilla, you're thick. Damn, boy, she thick. And tasty, too.
What the fuck is this?
Talk of a second Shin Godzilla could die down again, but Toho is deep enough into production of Minus One's plus one. Minus one plus one. Minus one plus one. Is that zero? A minus one apple plus one apple. Or plus one apple then minus one apple. Because you can't minus one apple if you don't have one yet. And then plus one apple equals one apple. Anyway, forget it. Anyway, what the hell am I saying? Forget it. Rewind that shit. But Toho is deep enough into production of Minus One's plus one that they can pretty much ensure a 2026 release just in time for the next monsoon.
Daddy, chill.
So folks, we've come to the end of this article, but as we regularly do when we have the opportunity, we'll go over a few readers' comments. The first one from Levo. That's not true. Anno wanted and had plans for a sequel, but Toho wanted at the time to make a shared Kaiju universe. But that was scrapped. Then Minus One happened. Now the Minus One director is having discussions with James Gunn and may direct a DC film if Gunn is still employed. I have to wonder if Suda 51 is making a DC game now too, given how close Gunn is to Suda. Probably. Harley Quinn sounds horrible. Suda ruined No More Heroes, taking away from the dark elements. Well, if that's true, because I have no idea right now. But if director Anno wanted to make a sequel, but But I digress. But anyway, as I said earlier, Toho has Godzilla in so many other places, and that's not even counting the animated versions. But now it makes more sense if Toho put a stop to it why it took 10 years before thinking about maybe another sequel. Next up from Shin Godzilla we have, would love to see a whole Shin universe uniting Godzilla, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider. And how about Gamera, the flying turtle? One of my favorites as a kid. And we have a reply from Milo, who's in agreement, and says, Shentai too. And we have from Cove, yes, do it as an anime. Anno needs to come back. But you want Anno to come back and do it as an anime instead of a live action film? I'm just asking. I'd rather live action. Also, still waiting on Shin Super Sentai. And I guess he should also make Shin Gamera. Hey, I just said that. So we agreed to disagree on the anime, but we agree on Gamera. Oh my. Others, he should do Shin Mazinga, Jushin Liger, Cyborg 009, and Demon Lord Dante. Even Enma. He and Nagi are close. Next up, from You Are Scum, we need a Japanese movie that features Gatchaman, Ultraman, Robot Red Baron, a modern day Destroy All Monsters film.
I don't think so.
Omicron opines, I get that it's a popular movie in some circles, but this is not the Godzilla for me. I like when Godzilla's fun. Shin was more horror, and just not my cup of tea. Hey, cassette to each their own. I respect that. With Godzilla, I could take horror, I could take more light versions. You know, it's like a box of chocolates. You eat what you like. You don't have to eat them all.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Oh, shut up, Forrest. I didn't say that for you to have a cameo. Raider68 says, I should go back to watch it again, but I found it to be dreadfully boring. The first and only time I watched it. Dude Guy says, can we please stop giving Anno work? Shin Godzilla is miles behind Minus One. He fumbled Shin Kamen Rider and Gundam GQ Ukes. And I'm just tired of his lame attempts in every media possible. He is the most gassed up mid-director just because he made Evangelion. And people just can't seem to let it go. They just continue to give him unlimited work. Tell us how you really feel, Dude Guy-san. Last but not least, from Pat Gray C, who says, I'm sorry, but more googly-eyed Godzilla? No! Well, kiddies, we've come to the end of this video. So if you liked what you heard, if you liked the article, my comments, or the reader's comments, then hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And for shame if you haven't.
Shame. Shame.
It's free. It doesn't cost a dime. And hit that notification bell so that you always be forewarned whenever I'm about to drop another video. And as always, stay safe and I bid you peace.